Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome to the Woodridge Board of Education Organizational Meeting, January 2nd, 2024. This is a regularly scheduled public session of the Woodridge Board of Education, known as the Organizational Meeting, and is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, the Public Laws of 1975, also known as the Sunshine Law. This meeting has been approved by resolution adopted at the reorganizational meeting held on January 3rd, 2023. Notification has been sent to the record. Notification has also been posted in the Woodridge Borough Hall, the Woodridge Memorial Library, tapinto.net, and the Woodridge Board of Education website. Please be advised that all or a portion of this meeting is being live streamed in real time and will be recorded for rebroadcasting at a future date. The results of our annual school district election that was held on November 7th, 2023 is as follows. For one 3-year term, Bonnie Taylor, 929 votes, Michelle Milano, 1,315 votes, and personal choice, 6 votes. At this time, I would like to swear in Ms. Milano as our new board member. At this time, I would like to read a statement of board composition of the Woodridge Board of Education for 2024. Board members, Mr. Joseph Biamonte, Mr. Richard Fallon, Mr. Christopher Garvin, Mrs. Michelle Milano, and Mr. Albert Nieves. May I have a roll call, please? Mr. Biamonte? Here. Mr. Fallon? Here. Mr. Garvin? Here. Mrs. Milano?
Here.
Mr. Nieves?
Present.
I would like to seek a motion to open to the public for items listed in the board agenda. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second? Thank you. Any comments from the public? Seeing that there are no public comments, at this point, I would like to open up a motion for our officers' appointments, setting of board procedures. May I have a motion, please? And seconded, and a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Now seek the board. At this time, I'm seeking the nomination for our board president for a 1-year term. May I have a nomination, please?
Mr. Morelli, I'd like to make that motion to nominate Albie Nieves for board president.
Do I have a second? Mr. Garvin is. Thank you. Mr. Fallon? Roll call, please. Mr. Biamonte?
Yes.
Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Garvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Milano?
Yes.
Mr. Nieves?
Yes.
At this time, I would like to turn the meeting over to our board president, Mr. Nieves.
Trustees, thank you for another year. Let's move on and see how quickly we can roll through this. Next, I'll be taking an election for board vice president. So can I get it first? Who are you nominating?
Mr. Nieves, I would like to nominate my good friend, Mr. Biamonte, for the position of Vice President.
Thank you, sir. Can I have a second? Mr. Fallon? Mr. Biamonte, congratulations, and one more year as Vice President. We'll do a little roll call.
Mr. Biamonte?
Abstain.
Mr. Fallon? Yes. Mr. Garvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Milano?
Yes.
Mr. Nieves.
Yes. All right, so the rest of our agenda, I'm going to kind of read through quickly here. Trustees, I will go through after each critical board operations. I'll just go for a motion by and a second by. We'll wait until the very end to do our roll call across. So I'll do a lot of reading, and I will try to take us through. The only thing I will note is that on the Board of Education, thank you, Mr. Fallon, we are talking about our regular public session next January, happening on January 9th, which is not what we're approving tonight. So that might be an addendum or a change. We also want to keep in mind that it is tax day, April 15th, and that November 11th is Veterans Day. So we do have some changes throughout the year, but now that we know that far in advance, just want to call that out. All right, so Board Operations 3, we have Code of Ethics pursuant to 18A 12-24.1. Recommended by the board. We are approving a couple of items. I'll read the top of it and the resolution, and then I'll skim through the rest of the pieces. So we have the Board of Education members at the required Board of Ethics training session as required under NJAC 6:3-1.3 and NJAC 6A:30. Resolved that the New Jersey School Boards Association Code of Ethics shall be considered the official code of ethics of the Woodridge Board of Education. School board members shall abide by the following code of ethics for school board members. You'll see A, uphold, enforce laws, rules, regulations. B, decisions in terms of educational welfare of children will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet individual needs. C, confine the board action to policymaking, planning, and appraisal. D, responsibility not to administer the schools, but to make sure that we have a well-run school. E, we recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education, will make no personal promises or take any private actions may compromise the board. I refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups. I'll hold confidential all matters. I vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer or Mr. Albro, our superintendent. I'll support and protect school personnel and proper performance. I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer / Superintendent and will act on the complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution. Can I get a first motion? Mr. Garvin, second. Ms. Milano. All right, on to the president designates a delegate and alternate to each of the following. So we have the Bergen County School Boards Association. The delegate will be myself. The alternate will be Rich Fallon. Can I have a first motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Biamonte, second, Mr. Garvin. Next, we have the board approving the following item, which is our Open Public Meeting Act, establishing meeting dates, times, and site. Resolved that the Woodridge Board of Education pursuant to Chapter 231 PAL, the Open Public Meeting Act, does hereby proclaim the public meetings of the Board of Education will be held in Woodridge High School Auditorium, 258 Hackensack Street, Woodridge, New Jersey, at 7 p.m. as set forth below. That the purpose of the regular meeting shall be normal to conduct business of the Board of Education. Also resolved that the Board of Education does hereby designate the Bergen Record as the official paper to receive notices of meetings as well as reschedules. Further resolved that notices of the meeting of Board of Education will be posted on Woodridge Education's website, Woodridge Memorial Library, Borough Hall, and tapinto.net. Be it further resolved that the Board of Education reserves the right to adjourn or recess, which is what I was just talking about, meeting at any time to discuss matters that may be considered in closed session. Or reschedule. And be it further resolved that in order to conduct its meetings properly and efficiently, the board will require the following procedure pertaining to public participation. Any individual desiring to speak shall give his or her name, city of residence, and group, if any, that is presented. The presentation shall be as brief as possible, no more than 5 minutes per individual. The board vests in its president, other presiding officers, authority to terminate the remarks of any individual if he or she deems it's not in the best interest of the meeting. And be it further resolved, the Board of Education will meet on the following dates. Again, I've already cited 3 that might need revision. We have January 2nd. That's our next meeting coming up. February 12th, March 4th, March 18th. We have 2 in March, 2 in April, April 15th, April 29th, 2 in May, May 26th and May 20th, 1 in June, June 10th, 1 in July, July 15th, 1 in August, July 19th, September 9th, 1, October 7th, 1, and November 11th, December 9th, January 2nd. Can I get a motion? Mr. Fallon? Ms. Milano? All right, on to establishing length of board meetings. We are approving and recommending tonight express desire to adjourn all meetings at a designated hour to avoid losing numbers who must leave the meeting due or to avoid reaching a point of diminishing returns. Therefore, it's recommended that we have a resolution be passed for a guide of future board meetings to adhere to during the school year. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent, Board establishes that the Board of Education meetings will end no later than 10 p.m., including both public, executive, and any other. The board established a practice that the continuation of the board meetings beyond 10 o'clock will require a majority vote of these trustees. And then we will revisit that every 30 minutes. Motion? Mr. Garvin? Mr. Biamonte? On to our designation of regular business meeting day. So we are going to commence these meetings at 7 o'clock. You might actually see that it says 6 o'clock. But that's for us to come up here first. So we meet from 6 to 7. We go through our what we call closed and executive session, and then 7 o'clock it is open to the public. Board president can't call a special meeting. We don't see too many of those, but that does happen. And then we have the committee as a whole, which is also called by the board president. Can I get a first? Mr. Fallon, Ms. Milano. All right. On to the order of business at regular meetings. So this is what you'll probably see in every agenda. Call to order, open public meeting statement, roll call, resolutions for executive session. Call to order, again, for the public session, the Open Public Meeting Act, roll call, recognition and awards, student board rep, board administrators report, superintendent's report, approval of minutes, committee reports, and our hearing of citizens. On to our consent agenda, new business, communications, unfinished business, hearing of citizens, and then we adjourn. Be it further resolved that said order shall be followed unless a majority of the board education shall consent to change. I had a motion. Mr. Garvin, Ms. Milano. All right, on to cover page of committee of the whole of regular meetings. So it's recommended that the board approves the following items. Cover page for the committee of the whole regular meetings. I'm just going to run through who is the chair and the co-chair. We have finance, Mr. Garvin, co-chaired or second in chair is myself. Buildings and grounds is myself and Mr. Biamonte. Personnel, Mr. Biamonte and myself. Curriculum and instruction, Ms. Milano and Chris Garvin. And then we have policy, Rich Fallon and Ms. Milano. We have liaison positions. We have public relations. This is pretty typical where it falls to president, vice president. So it's myself and Mr. Biamonte. Mayor and council, myself and Mr. Biamonte. PTA is Mr. Biamonte and Mrs. Milano. Police, Mr. Biamonte and Rich Fallon. Drug Alliance, Mr. Biamonte, Mr. Garvin. Library Board, Mr. Fallon, Mrs. Milano. Club Fundraising, Mrs. Milano and myself. Technology is Mr. Fallon and myself. Articulation Moonaki is Mr. Garvin and Rich Fallon. Parent Advisory Network is myself and Mr. Fallon. And then the Woodridge District Athletics is myself and Mr. Biamonte. Can I get a motion? Mr. Garvin, Mr. Biamonte. All right, on to the adoption of the official media. So what we are recommending and approving is to authorize the Bergen Record be adopted as the official newspaper and tap into .net as the official digital source to be used for the advertisement of meetings, legal ads, and other necessary public information for 23-24 or otherwise the 24-25 school year. Can I get a motion? Joe Biamonte and Fallon number 2, Mr. Fallon number 2. Parliamentary procedures, recommended the board approve the following item to adopt the Roberts Rules of Order as the official parliamentary procedure manual to be used to conduct our meetings. And appoint our board secretary and attorney to act as parliamentarians for the 23-24 and calendar year of the 24-25 school year. Can I get a motion? Ms. Milano, Mr. Fallon, number 2. All right, board policies. recommend that the board approve the following: the adoption of all existing board policies and regulations. Doctrine of necessity. So this one, yeah, I'm going to go right because that was a short one. I'm going to do one at the end as well. Whereas the School Ethics Act, NJSA 18AA:12-21, was enacted by the New Jersey State Legislature to ensure and preserve public confidence in school board members and school board administrators, and to provide specific ethics standards to guide their conduct. So we actually have to every year sign an acknowledgement of the receipt of the Code of Ethics for the school board members. And this is pretty important. So everything that I had read previously about confidentiality, our ability and our need to make decisions for the betterment of the school, the children, education, not to be biased, is all really what you see on page 12 here. In a motion, Mr. Garvin, Mr. Milano. All right, thank you. Travel and related expense reimbursement 2324. Recommend that the board approve the following. Recognizes school staff and board members will incur travel expenses related to within the scope of their current responsibilities for travel that promotes the delivery of instruction and education. There's another 5 here, right? So board members receive approval of the expenses by a majority of the full voting membership of the board. The Board of Education may establish for regular district business travel only an annual school year threshold of $1,500 per staff member, where prior board approval shall not be required unless this annual threshold for a staff member is exceeded. Travel and related expenses not in compliance with NJAC 6A:23B 1.1, but deemed by the Board of Education to be necessary and unavoidable. The Board of Education also approves all travel non-compliance with NJAC 23-7.1, that being necessary and unavoidable, as noted on the approved Board of Education out-of-district travel and reimbursement forms. So be it further resolved, the Board of Education approves travel and related expense reimbursements in accordance with NJAC 6A:23A-7.3 to a maximum expenditure of $1,500 for all staff and board members. That motion. Mr. Biamonte, second, Mr. Fallon. Readopt written board bylaws and policies. Recommended the board approve the following items. It's been recommended by our attorneys, Kenny, Gross, Kovats, and Parton, that we adopt the bylaws and policies that are in effect now in order to have them remain in force. The adoption does not preclude the newly recognized board from amending old or adopting new policies should the need arise. The board approves the Woodridge Board of Education. The board approved, recognizing that it is responsible for providing a thorough and efficient free public education for the children of this district, and recognizing that this board is a non-continuous body subject to annual renewal, adopt the rewritten bylaws and policies of the predecessor board for its operation and the operation of its school district. It is understood that this board, during its own life, may amend or repeal such laws and policies and adopt new policies as it deems necessary. Can I get a motion? Mr. Biamonte, Mr. Fallon. Report on the authorized permitted pupil records. Our attorney specified the board must report annually at the public meeting exactly what types of permitted pupil records have been authorized by the Woodridge District, as noted in policy 8330. Upon the recommendation of our superintendent, the board approves the following permitted pupil records be maintained in files. 1, obtain professionally acceptable standard instruments of measurement such as intelligence, aptitude, achievement tests, and state assessment profiles. Data relevant to sequential acquisition of basic skills such as cumulative reading records, math flow charts, etc. Data relevant to sequential acquisition of skills in specialized areas such as speech treatment, instrumental music, summer school reports, records from other schools, duplicate report cards, additional personal data on cumulative record cards, not mandated or prohibited, provided, however, that such data shall be based upon the personal observation or knowledge of the author thereof. Checklist of personality profiles presently provided for cumulative record cards. Notation of special interests, aptitudes, and activities of pupils provided for on cumulative record cards, and child study team reports, LDTC, social workers, psychologists, supplementary teaching, other concerned professionals and/or agencies within or out of the school system. Can I get a motion? Mr. Milano, Mr. Garvin. All right, we're almost there. Personnel. Actually, I will wait for this one. Oh, sorry about that. So we actually do have one thing to vote on tonight, which I will do after I open it up to the hearing of citizens on this. But upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approves the following personnel appointment. Natalie Alonso, Central Office Business new hire, Business Office Clerk Accountants. Receivable is the position. The salary is there. Start date is today. The end date will be 6/30/24. This is out of order. So I'm going to have to ask the public first before I vote.
We did, I did at the beginning.
Oh, he did? All right. So can I have a motion? Mr. Fallon? Second? Mr. Biamonte? Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Garvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Milano?
Yes.
Mr. Biamonte?
Yes.
Mr. Nieves.
Yes. All right. I will open it up now to comments from anybody in the audience for anything that you'd like to speak about, even if it's just to come up and wish congratulations, Dan. You know, anybody? No? Okay. All right. Well, I'll make a comment then. So I'm going to close the hearing of citizens. Did we have anything posted online today?
Nothing.
All right. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
You thought there were a lot of conversations we were all having with you. It only gets better now. They're going to be a lot longer and a lot more frequent. Nothing. It's nice. It's nice to see diversity up here, and very, very happy that you're sitting up here. So I have big expectations. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
Trustees? Comments, questions?
I also want to congratulate Michelle for winning the election. I look forward to working with you. We've known each other a very long time, know your family very well. Coach Dillon, he's wearing, in football, he's wearing that great championship jacket I saw him walk in with, wear it proudly. But 3 years ahead, we're going to learn a lot. We're going to work together, and congratulations again.
Gentlemen?
Michelle, I do look forward to working with you. I know we're going to have a plethora of discussions, but I do look forward to working with you. I look forward to your insight on matters, and hopefully we're going to get a lot accomplished. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Michelle, congratulations. It'll be a pleasure working with you. Congratulations on the election, and we look forward to it.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say?
I just want to say I'm excited to be here, and I have a lot to learn, and I have a lot of questions to ask.
Those questions are good. All right. Final comments, questions, or concerns?
I just have a question for the board. Could I, in response to the calendar dates that are conflict, could I get to all the board members some alternate dates?
Yep.
And we'll prove at the next meeting?
Yes, sir. I think we were already supposed to do that, so apologies for getting to that late, Tony. I also spoke to everybody about how we're going, so more for the public. We're going to run the meeting a little different going forward. We're going, each committee owner will actually read their numbers. We'll do a one consensus, all in favor of, then we'll do the roll call. It'll make it easier that way. But I think that's the only, right, major change that we had talked about. All right, so if there's nothing further, motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Biamonte, Mr. Fallon, all in favor? All opposed? Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year. Close tonight's session.